How's it going? Welcome to the shop. Or welcome to the live stream. I guess both. Whew. Man. One day I'll get this whole thing. I couldn't use my new camera. Well, the new used camera. So I had to reset the default and put up what I had, you know, in the previous videos. So one day I'll get that camera figured out and all that thing. I think I know what I did wrong. I was running out of time, so I came back and set all this up and got everything working again. And man. So, how's everyone doing? It's been a pretty great week for me. I can hear a little bit of feedback on here. Let me put these down. Alright, if you're watching the repost, make sure to leave comments. If you got ideas or any questions about knife making or being a YouTuber. I'm not an expert on being a YouTuber, but in the last year I've been intentionally studying it to try to make my content better and all that. And whew, it's a lot of work, I'll tell you that. So yeah, my links, the Amazon links are up here. My knives and my shirts and all that are up here or down below. I don't know if it's up there during the live stream, but it'll be there during the repost. So you got any questions, let me know. And yeah, let's get on with this. So I think I'm going to start out this video or this live stream with a little vindication. If you've watched any of my last videos or live streams where I talked about the VFD and how I had to change out, buy a new motor, 2 horsepower motor and all that, and how I've been using the 1 horsepower motor. In fact, if you watched yesterday's video, I said, make sure to watch this, keep track of this motor, then I don't tell you why. It was because I switched out the 2 horsepower for a 1 horsepower, and the 1 horsepower is actually working just fine. I don't even really notice a difference. Anyway, but I digress. So I got a call from the people that do the VFD, and for a little background, when I called, I was having problems with the VFD, and the guy's like, oh, you're using cheap eBay motors. It's the motor. The motors aren't compatible. And I went on this whole rant because the VFD puts out 3-phase. The motor takes 3-phase. How are they not compatible? Now, yes, I can understand, you know, the cheaper eBay motors have problems. But that's not what he was saying. He was like, they're not compatible. So I had a second motor. I hooked the second motor up. It was showing the exact same symptoms. Now, if you have 3 things, 2 of them are showing the same symptoms. The third one, 99% of the time, is the problem. The guy on the phone was like, no, it's the motor, blah, blah, blah. Oh, the VFD, it's not the VFD, it's something you're doing wrong. And man, he just would not take responsibility. And I went on a whole rant. Hey, what's up, Chip? I haven't seen you all week. I was starting to get a little worried about you. Bootleg Blags, what's up? Michael, welcome from Germany. Man, it's awesome to see all these guys around from all over the world. But anyway, so he just would not take responsibility. He was blaming the motors, blaming everything but his VFD. And so I get a call. I guess it was Wednesday or something. And they're like, yeah, the VFD is broken. It blew a few resistors and all that. But then they started saying, well, it's something you did wrong. You hooked it up electronically wrong. I know electronics. I didn't hook it up wrong. And I was like, this motor has been running, or this VFD has been running fine for a year. You know, there's no electronical problems. And they're like, it's going to be $45. Now, the $45 isn't the issue. The principle is it's still under warranty. So, you know, I'm like, no, it's under. He's like, no, you did something wrong. I was like, man, this ran for a year, then had problems. BC Truck Rebuild, what's up? Texas, yeah, man. There's a lot of knife makers down in Texas. So anyway, you know, they put me on, he's like, well, we'll send you over to the tech department if you want to talk to them and see if they'll cover the warranty. And I was like, yeah, you better believe I want to talk to them. And he starts trying to give me the same spiel. Oh, you must have hooked it up wrong and this and that. Man, I had the multimeter out. I had everything. I did not hook this motor up wrong. I've hooked up plenty of motors. I know electronics, all this. And then he's like, okay, I'll get back to you. And they called me back about an hour later. Your warranty is going through. We approved it. Which is great. But my real issue is, if I didn't know about troubleshooting, if I didn't know about, you know, electronics and all that, they could have really messed me up. Because the first guy, he's like, oh, it's the motors. You need to buy a Baldor motor. So I could have gone online, spent $500 to $700 on a new motor, gotten there, and the VFD would have still been messed up. You know, people, it just drives me crazy when people can't take responsibility for their own products. I knew it had to be the VFD. I mean, you know, when you hook up one motor and it's showing one symptoms, and you hook up another motor and it's showing the exact same symptoms, it's not the motor. I mean, there's a 1 in like a million chances that it might be the motor. It's not the motor. Now, when I get the VFD back, I might hook the motors up and they might be bad too. In fact, I noticed when I hooked the 1 horsepower motor up, it was, the KMG was running really bad, so I bought some new bearings. And I'll probably do that Monday. Switch out the bearings and just take because with the KMG, the motor runs on a pulley, and the pulley, you know, goes to another pulley which runs the wheel. So I'm going to have to take that all apart and see if actually the axle might have bent or something. So, you know, that could have been causing where, you know, the VFD was having to push more power to the motor to start it over, then it was overcompensating and stuff like that. But I don't know, that, you know, that could have been what caused it, or what caused the VFD to run bad and then blew a resistor and all that stuff. But man, when people want you to pay for stuff when it's under warranty, or they're telling you it's your fault for hooking it up wrong, or it's the motor's fault, man, I just, you know, if I was a more vindictive person, I would have gone back to that original salesperson and been like, ha 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 ha, you were wrong. But you got to contain yourself and just gloat a little bit. So I don't know if you guys watched the video yesterday, but this old Tony actually commented. Every couple of months he'll show up and leave a comment. And it's like, I'm starstruck, you know. To me, like, him and Abe are, like, top tier. You know, then Alex Steele and all the other guys. But, you know, Abe is just a guy that I've watched for, like, what, 5-6 years. And he's just always been on top. And then this old Tony came in and nudged right in there. Because the great thing about this old Tony is, when you watch his videos, they're very creative. Even like Alex Steele and all these guys copy his... copy the way he does videos, like the whole chopping thing where he's chopping it and all of a sudden the metal falls apart. I've seen so many guys copy his style and stuff like that. And his machining tips and welding tips and all that are top notch. But if you watch, his editing skills are just amazing. What's up, Aaron? Haven't heard from you. Both you and Chip, haven't heard from either of you all week, man. You guys got to keep in touch, man. I'm starting to worry about you guys. So, yeah, and plus, this old Tony just hit 500,000 subs, so congratulations. He probably isn't watching this or going to watch it, but we'll put it out there for him. And if you guys are into any kind of metal work or anything like that, man, and you don't know who he is, check him out. He, you know... His stuff is entertaining and, man, it really teaches you a lot about stuff. So, what a week, what a week. Actually got a lot of stuff done this week. I wish I could have used that camera, but I got it set up and it just, all of a sudden my face was like right here. And after I got everything else set up, I realized I just needed to make the image smaller, but we'll get it going, so... that's one thing I have to work on. So, whew. You know, I had this funny thought last night. You You know, people say they're, you know, jack of all trades, master of none. Man, that describes me to like a T. You know, I try to do everything, but I've kind of changed that, or I'm trying to change that, where it's like I'm a jack of all trades, but trying to master three. You know, the music's just in my blood. You know, my dad was a jazz bassist, so music is something I was born into. That's just, will always be part of me. Then the knife making in the last 3 or 4 years has come into play. And now, since August, this whole camera thing. So if I can master those 3 things and tie them all together, I'll be good to go. I haven't even started working on this knife. Let's see, I think we were up at the 600 last time. So, I guess I'll get into this, the Google Ads thing. You know, a lot of people want to learn how to be YouTubers. And like I said, I'm not an expert, but add a second burner. Yeah, you know, Chip, that forge you had is big enough. And if you're trying to use like map gas, I think the flame for map gas is too small. So I told you to use that weed torch in there to heat it up, but it is, you know, my little propane thing with 2 burners, and it worked real good. But you start running out of space, and the thing when you're watching these videos of these guys like Alex Steele or anyone that's forging or doing all this stuff, there's a lot of editing. When you're forging something or when you're trying to heat treat, you don't see the time it takes to heat the oven up. It takes, I would say, a good 15 to 20 minutes just for the forge and all that to get hot enough where you can start heat treating. So don't get discouraged if you're running propane and all, but if you're using one of those map gas torches, it's probably too small of a flame. It's hot enough, but with the forge you sent me in that email, it's a pretty big forge. That's why I suggested using that weed torch. What I would do is cut a hole. I would take either a hole saw or, you know, some kind of, maybe an angle grinder, and cut a big hole and put that head in it, but leave the head out so it can get air. And then but you put it on the top side, and that way it'll shoot down and heat that whole thing. That's the best way to do it. Switch the hose. Yeah, see, that's the thing with you know, like I talked about with my horizontal grinder. When you build your own forge or you build your own grinder and you build your own tools, that's one of the downfalls of not buying it, because you're going to have to mess with it. You're going to have to tinker with it. You're going to have to put your time and your energy in to getting it tuned in right. And that's how it goes with everything. When I first, in that 01 heat treating video, when I showed you that propane forge thing I built, man, it took a lot of tinkering. The first time I made it, I had a T-switch. So the 2 lines came into one, and it was just leaking everywhere. You know, I lit it up, all of a sudden there's flames everywhere. I had to cut it off real quick, and that's why I made the 2 burners on separate tanks. You know, if you go to these sites and you spend the money and you actually buy a tank or buy a burner and all that, they come perfectly tuned in. You know, you're spending $100 per burner or whatever it is, and they're all tuned in. You set it up, boom. You spend $300 on the forge, everything's together, boom. You're set up. You're good to go. There's no tuning. You turn it on and you're good. When you build it yourself, it's one of the things you have to do. You have to sit there and mess with it and tune it. Can you hear my compressor? I forgot to unplug my compressor. Oops. So, yeah, it's just a, you know, you'll get it. You just keep at it. You put it this way: the tank you showed me that you built is perfect for forging. The only thing I saw, you might have put a little bit too much plaster in there. The hole might have been too small. Man, everything's going off. I got my phone going off, my compressor going off. Good Lord. One of those days, huh? Day of Murphy's Law. Yeah, man, 2x72s are fun to build. You know, excuse me, I've had people ask me, do you have plans? Most of the stuff, I'll draw it out a little bit to get the right materials, like with my oven and all that, or my grinder. I just have it in my head, you know. Who else would think to just have a bench and then all of a sudden drill holes in your bench and hook up 3 pipes and weld them together and pop the motor out of the top of the bench and all that stuff. You know, if you need to draw out plans and you're that kind of person, then that's good for you. But me, drawing out plans are very sketchy, so I don't have the precision. This, you know, my stuff, I slap it together and then tune it from there. If it doesn't work, I cut it apart and make it again. So, you know, even like this cart. I didn't draw that card out. I just popped it in my head and that was it. It leads a little this way though, I noticed. Because my welding's not as good as it should be. Oh man. Oh, so back to that VFD thing. My ADD's all over the place. I bought that second motor. Now, they said you have 60 days to send it back. I thought it was 30. So I don't know if I'm going to keep that motor or send it back. But we'll see. A new motor should run better. And it wasn't really that expensive, so. I just got to figure out where to put all these motors. I might hook the orange one back up to see how that works. Because that thing's a powerhouse. Plus it's big and bulky and I don't have any place to put it. So I think it was just, yeah, that the whole VFD and all that, it was just a trifecta of bad bearings and, you know, the motor going, or not the motor, the VFD going, and but it should have been able to handle it, so we'll see. It was just so nice when they're like, yes. I'm repeating myself. The engineer, yeah. That's one thing I've always had is the engineering mind. You know, I've always had that kind of high IQ where it's like you border on the borderline of crazy and genius. And a lot of times it falls to the crazy part, the crazy side. Like, you know, when I used to tell my friend, the guy that got me into knife making, oh, I'm going to build a horizontal grinder. And the thing is, he'll come over and try to use it. And he's like, oh, man, look at all the problems with this. If you just bought one, it's like, yeah, well, I bought the KMG. It's like, I don't see you buying stuff, you know. I don't see you with this grinder. You know, he comes over to use my stuff and complains about how it needs to do this and how it doesn't do that. But now I've got it all tuned in to where it does do that. And the funny thing is, under the tracking arm, I just put washers. That's how I raise or lower the belt, with washers. And then I tune it in with that tracking arm. So it's all in how you use stuff and do it and all that stuff. So, but it works, and it works amazing. Yeah, I love it. I almost was, when I saw that surface grinder attachment and all that, I was like, man, how can I build one? But that one is just a little bit out of my building capabilities. So, luckily, I found a life insurance policy that my parents had on me for since 95, and I cashed that in. That's the only way I could afford that surface grinder. I found this old life insurance policy on me that, I guess when my dad died, he left an annuity, And so that annuity was paying off those life insurance policies. It's like, man, I don't need all that. So cashed it in and got that circus grinder. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have that. So that was the one thing I didn't save for. I lucked into that one. So everything else I saved months and months and months and months for. Like the first heat treat oven, it took me like 4 months to save to get each part. Each month I'd buy like the bricks or, you know, a couple parts here and there, and then I finally got it all together and built it. So, you know, that's the thing. A lot of people just want to go out and buy these things. See, Chip, I'm like that too, though. Where you're saying I have to see something to replicate it, but that's kind of where that whole thing is, because for the longest time I always had this philosophy: if someone else can do it, or if someone else can build it, so can I. So when I would see these grinders and all that, I'd be like, and I took the idea from that, I just made it my way. And, you know, don't think I don't study on these things. To build the heat treat oven, the whole 4 months I was saving up to buy the bricks and all that. I was studying how other people made these, how other people wired them, how other, you know. So that's the one thing about saving up your money for stuff. It gives you time to study. So it's not like I just came up with the idea off my head. Now, putting it on the bench like that and welding it all together, that was the part of the idea that was mine. All the other stuff, you know, I took from studying and other people. So it's not like it was just this new idea I came up with. So maybe that was a misinterpreted. That was something I misinterpreted. So. Thanks, Aaron. So let's get to this little part about the YouTube, because I don't feel like doing a total clickbait ad. I just know a lot of people want to learn about being a YouTuber. And like I said, if you guys, you know, doing knives and all that, take out your phones and record yourself and put them on YouTube. It saves a whole bunch of disk space. You know, you don't have to put them out there. You can even keep them private. But just to watch yourself, and you'll see your mistakes. You're like, wait, why am I holding this and all that? But you've heard me rant about that before. This is about Google ads. Now, it's not the ads, it's not AdSense, it's not the ads you see. Well, it's not ads on your videos. It's paying for ads to promote your videos. That's what Google Ads is. And, you know, when I first started doing it, I felt like I was cheating. Oh, it's not organic. I'm paying for people to watch my stuff. And that's true. But, you know, after watching Gary Vee and all that, you have to market yourself. You have to put in, you know, any money you get from making knives or whatever you're doing, every hobby you're doing or anything, you have to put back in to your brand, to your product, to all that promoting. And if you're a YouTuber, Google Ads is the way to go. It's very cheap, you know, and it works. You know, if you notice my channel, I've got like, what, 1,400 subscribers, but I get like 2,000 views on each video. It's because of Google Ads. Now, it works, but there are some key things that you have to watch out for, or you're wasting your money. Like, number one, if your content isn't good, people will click on your stuff. You'll get the views, but they'll click away. So if your content isn't really good, don't use Google Ads till it's good enough that people will stay. Because you're actually hurting your channel. If people click on your stuff and they click away, YouTube sees that as a bad video. Because people don't want to watch it. So that's actually hurting your stuff and wasting money. Now, the biggest thing about YouTube and all that is your thumbnails. Watch Nick Nimmin, watch his brother, I forget his Dan Nimmin or something like that, Dean. They have a bunch of videos on making the perfect thumbnails. Go to YouTube, how to make YouTube thumbnails. Your thumbnail has to be good enough and people will click on it. They'll come to your channel, and if your content isn't good, you're wasting your money. I know I'm repeating myself, but Google Ads works, and it's you know, you could set now. It used to be just like a daily thing where you set like $10 a day and it would always go over. So you leave it run for 2 days and all of a sudden you're at $40. So it can get expensive, but now they have a campaign total. So you can just try it out, $30 or whatever for the campaign total. And with 30 to 40 bucks a video, you'll get 1,000 to 2,000 views if you have a good thumbnail and if you have good content. But if you don't have those, don't waste your money. Believe me, I did. And I'd have people, my content wasn't that good, I'd have people come and then click away, and it made my channel worse. But, you know, in the last year, I just realized this. I was looking through my old stuff. In August, I hit 600 subscribers. Just last week, I hit 1,400. That means I got 800 subscribers in the last 6 months, 5 or 6 months. And it's because, you know, August, like I said, August is when I started getting into all the cameras, making my content a lot better. I still have to figure out editing for these little action cams, because that slow motion in yesterday's video, it wasn't actually the cameras, it was how I had to set the lighting. I think I need to set the lights up above and shine them down, because a lot of those cameras are like hit right into the lights. But I put it up because when I look back on it, I'll remember what not to do. Like I say, when you make these videos, it's a lot of learning, and you can learn from your mistakes by making these videos. And YouTube, see, I'm a very obsessive person. So when I do something, I want to do it perfect. I want to make it the best I can, which when you're doing YouTube can be a blessing and a curse. A lot of times you have to let things go. There's some things you can't get perfect. Like in yesterday's video, I shot that whole thing with the new camera, and I had it on the wrong settings and it was out of focus. And if I showed you the raw footage I got out of it, it was completely yellow. So I had to go in and I had to desaturate with one effect and then resaturate it with another effect. And that's what I came up with, and it actually came out pretty good. If I just showed you the raw, what I got out of the camera, it was bad. And I was like, man, I got to go reshoot that whole thing. And, you know, I got a little back up this week and trying to learn how to do the whole editing and all that. So, yeah. But I put it out anyway. And I made it the best I could. It wasn't perfect, but I made it the best with the bad, you know, out of focus stuff. I had it on the wrong focus settings. But that's how you learn. You know, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you learn from your mistakes. You leave that stuff in, and then you can go back and be like, wow, I know not to do that next time. You know, just like this today. I tried to use that camera for this live stream. When I realized it was getting too late, and I would blow the time of, you know, starting the live stream, I stopped. And now after this live stream, I can go back and mess with it and figure it all out. And that goes to any hobby, anything you want to do, anything you're interested in. And that's why I you know, if you are commenting on this video or commenting on this live stream, you have a YouTube channel. Now, I learned something, Bootleg Blade, he put up a few videos. Man, go watch that dude's channel. He makes some awesome stuff with his belts and all this. He's just put up like 2 or 3 videos. But man, the stuff he builds is impressive. And he's like, it's a 15-minute time limit. And I kind of looked into it, and you have to like register with Google. Or you have to get verified by Google. Then you can have unlimited stuff. So, but you can do it from your iPad. You can do it from your phone. Any camera. Buy a cheap camera. You know, buy a used, that, you know, I bought that G7 that was used. anything, the best camera is the one you have. You know, whatever you have, that is the best camera to use for YouTube, period. Then when you get better into it, you can grow your channel and make things better. But I'm telling you, there's no better way to fix your mistakes and learn about your mistakes and learn what you're doing wrong than watching yourself on video. You don't have to make these videos public or anything like that. So, which is one of my topics about niche YouTubers and competition and community. Because a lot of people think, oh man, there's this knife maker over here and there's this knife maker over here. We're all in competition, so we shouldn't like each other. But I think that's complete crap. We should all work together to make our community stronger. You know, a little competition is fine. You know, you work off each other, you help each other to be better by competition. But you're not at war with each other, I guess is the way. Competition is healthy, but thinking, oh man, he's against me, he's going to ruin me by this. No, you need to help each other build. You know, that's how these communities grow. Yeah, Chip, I saw those videos. I keep forgetting to check that email. I get caught up in all that. I saw the one, I saw the picture of your first knife. You know, you said you did that before your 2x72 or whatever. That was a nice looking knife. A lot better than my first knives, I'll tell you that much. Oh, man. Yeah. Whew. Oh. You know, I was surprised I didn't see a lot of you guys commenting, you regulars commenting on the etching, the ACD etching power supply thing. Man, I thought that would be a winning video. Everyone wants to etch their blades. And like Martin was asking me, I see a lot of guys that use like a battery charger, like a 12-volt battery charger, which works. But the problem with that, that's only DC. Now DC will etch in, you know, do I have any knives? I don't think I have any knives down here that need it, that are etched, but DC puts in the logo, so it, you know, it etches in deeper, and that's why, like, if you rub over the logo, you can feel it. But AC gives that nice crisp. Excuse me, gives that nice crisp black logo. You know, when you see on a lot of knives where it's deep and it's also like black and really nice and crisp, that's what AC does. So to have both AC and DC is essential when etching. If you want that, you know. A lot of times I don't even use the AC because I like my logos to kind of sink into my stone wash and you can't really see it. I don't think I have any knives down here. No, I don't. But anyway, so yeah. Yeah, I tried to make it simple. I mean, it's actually pretty easy, but sometimes I don't explain, especially when I'm blowing things up. Oh, man, that was a surprise. I wasn't expecting that. But I got a little behind this week, and I rushed that video. So, I mean, I'll be honest, I got lazy this week, and Monday and Tuesday really didn't do much, so. Let's call a spade a spade. It happens to the best of us. But yeah, I don't know how else to explain it, but it's real easy. You do need to solder, know how to solder, and know how to use a multimeter, but those etching machines are insanely priced. You know, if you buy an ACD etcher, professional etcher, I think they're like $200-300, something like that. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video where I actually build one out of a box like I was showing in that video, where I just take a transformer and... But see, that's a little bit more complicated because you actually have to build the circuit. This way you just crack open the adapter, you find the transformer, and then right off the transformer there should be two spots where it was welded. There should be two spots where it was soldered in, and you just tap off of that. Let me see if I can... yeah, I got it all taped up. But, so, anyway, I've helped a couple people make them. I've had a couple people see me doing the logos and ask me, and they went and tried it, and they got it to work pretty good, so. But if you don't know electronics, it can be a little difficult. Or you don't have a multimeter. If you don't have a multimeter, then it's probably almost impossible. Think we're hitting that 40-minute mark. Time to wind this down so I can go figure out what's wrong with that camera. Oh, but yeah, so I think that's about it. I've ranted enough, especially about the VFD. Oh man, it just gets me when people just can't take responsibility. Man, you know, electronics have problems, especially when you're working with grinders and motors and all that. Yeah. He shouldn't have, man, I mean, I was on the phone with him for an hour, him just saying, oh, no, it's got to be this or this. And he's sitting there telling me, oh, well, try this setting, try this setting. And I'm telling him, I've already done that. You know, I'm reading the same manual you're reading. That's what gets me. You call these tech support places, and they open the same manual you're reading out of and tell you to do the same steps you've already done. So, oh, man. All right, I've ranted about it enough. It's out of my system. I actually feel kind of good to be vindicated, because if they would have been like, well, we hooked this up and there's no problems, then I would have had to put my tail between my legs and tell you all I was wrong. Which I do a lot of times, you know. That whole, if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. I love that saying. I have a big fear of failure, but I've been trying to overcome that, so. Alright guys, enough ranting for today. I think that's about it. Got any questions about YouTube? I'll try my best to answer them. Any questions about knife making? You know, let me know if you're stuck on a spot with knives or something like that. I'll try my best to get you through it, to get it worked out. All that stuff. You know, go out and shoot some videos of what you love doing. And then get better at it. All right. ADD. I can't pay attention. So, like I said, the website's up there. I actually put the beginner series, the whole series of the beginner knife maker, from shaping it and all that to doing all the bevels. So that's up there. Previous live streams, if you want to go rewatch those to see some of these tips I've been talking about, they're all up there. Amazon links, knives are on my website. I would say a shirt like this, but I can't put it on the live stream, so. Anyway, this old Tony, if you're watching, congratulations, but I doubt you are. So, I guess next will be fixing the grinder and building the new heat treat oven. And then I'm just going to do like a handle extravaganza. I've got the Karamba handle to finish, that big recurve handle, Steve's nice handle to finish. So that's probably what I'll be doing this week. If I can stop my glasses from fogging up. I get all excited and start getting hot and bothered, and my glasses get all fogged up. So, that's about it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all your support. And I'm glad to hear from you, Chip and Aaron. You know, when you didn't comment on the last couple of videos, I get worried about you guys. Les, I know you're watching the repost. You know, Rhino54. Oh, man. I get myself in this trap because I start naming off names, and then it's like I know I'm going to forget you guys. So, sorry. Maybe one day I'll just write a list of all you regulars, because, man, I definitely appreciate all your support. You know, you're what makes me come back. The Google ads and all that help bring more people in, but you guys bring me back because you're always here to support me. So, thanks for all that. Let's all have a great week and get on it. And as always, take it easy.